April 26, 1986. The sun rises gently over Pripyat, casting a golden glow on the city's neat avenues and tidy apartment blocks. It's a Saturday, and the air is filled with the quiet promise of a new day. Pripyat wakes to a day like any other. The city stirs to life as the first rays of sunlight filter through curtains, and the distant hum of activity begins. Children, dressed in their school uniforms, walk hand in hand to class, their laughter echoing down the streets. Vendors arrange fresh produce and flowers at the bustling market, while tired workers, just off their night shifts at the Chernobyl plant, make their way home, eager for rest. Young families enjoy the city's modern conveniences, spacious apartments, playgrounds, and the pride of living in a model Soviet town. There's a sense of optimism in the air, a belief in progress and the future. On the horizon, the 4 massive reactors of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant stand as monuments to Soviet achievement. To the people of Pripyat, they are symbols of prosperity and technological advancement, not of risk. In the parks, families spread out picnic blankets, mothers push prams along tree-lined paths, and children's laughter rings out from the playgrounds. The city feels safe, ordinary, and full of life. People go about their routines, unaware that just a few kilometers away, events are unfolding that will change everything. There is no hint of danger in the air, no warning of what's to come. The city's calm, almost idyllic, betrays nothing of the catastrophe about to erupt. The streets are peaceful, the buildings untouched, and the morning light hides the invisible threat. Pripyat's people are blissfully unaware that their world is about to vanish. Friends chat on benches, neighbors greet each other with smiles, and life continues as if nothing could ever go wrong. The clock is ticking, each second bringing the city closer to disaster. But for now, Pripyat remains suspended in a moment of peace, its people innocent of the tragedy that will soon define their lives. The disaster began with a safety test gone wrong. A delayed experiment fell to the night shift, less experienced, under pressure, and following unclear instructions. Operators tried to lower the reactor's power, but it dropped dangerously low. Instead of aborting, they withdrew control rods, removing the reactor's brakes. Safety systems were disabled, and the reactor was pushed into instability. Driven by pressure and misplaced confidence, they ignored protocols. The reactor was now a ticking time bomb. The stage was set for catastrophe. At 1:23 a.m. the test began. Cooling water slowed, steam pockets formed, and the RBMK reactor's fatal flaw emerged. More steam meant more power. The reaction spiraled out of control. In desperation, operators hit the emergency shutdown, AZ-5, but the control rod's graphite tips triggered a final, massive power surge. The failsafe became the trigger for disaster. The reactor's power output soared over 100 times normal. The core ruptured, the concrete lid lifted, and radioactive material spewed into the air. In minutes, human error and design flaws collided. The world changed forever. Seconds after the AZ-5 button was pressed, a colossal explosion tore through Reactor 4, shattering the silence of the night. The force of the blast was so immense that it blew apart the reactor building, sending a shockwave across the entire power plant complex. Windows shattered miles away, and the ground trembled beneath the feet of those nearby. The reactor core was exposed to the open air, and within moments, a second, even more powerful explosion erupted. This blast hurled tons of radioactive debris high into the night sky, scattering lethal fragments across the plant and far beyond its walls. Above Pripyat, the night sky glowed with an unnatural blue and red, illuminated by the deadly plume rising from the burning reactor. The colors were a warning, a sign that something catastrophic had happened, visible for miles around. Burning graphite, torn from the reactor core, rained down onto the plant grounds. These fragments ignited dozens of fires, turning the facility into a chaotic inferno. Flames leapt from rooftop to rooftop, threatening to consume everything in their path. The air quickly filled with radioactive dust and ash, an invisible killer that drifted silently through the night. Every breath taken by those nearby carried deadly particles deep into their lungs, spreading contamination far beyond the reactor. Firefighters, many with no knowledge of the true danger, rushed toward the burning reactor. They battled the flames on the roof and around the core, unaware that each moment exposed them to lethal doses of radiation. Within minutes, many received fatal doses. Yet, they pressed on, sacrificing themselves in a desperate attempt to contain the fire and prevent an even greater catastrophe. Inside the control room, operators stared in disbelief at the chaos unfolding. Shocked and confused, they struggled to comprehend the scale of the disaster, unable to grasp the full extent of what had just occurred. The first heroes of Chernobyl, firefighters, engineers, and emergency workers, fought an enemy they could not see or understand. Their bravery in the face of the unknown would become legendary, but the cost was unimaginable. In those first terrifying moments, the heart of the atom was unleashed upon the world, changing history forever. As the reactor burned, Soviet authorities prioritized secrecy over safety. Pripyat's residents were left in the dark, even as radiation spread. Children played outside, people watched the glowing plant from the bridge of death, all unaware of the danger. Officials downplayed the crisis, telling people to stay indoors, never mentioning radiation. The silence was deadly. Only after 36 hours did evacuation begin. Residents given 2 hours to pack, told it was temporary. They left behind homes, pets, and memories, never to return. The evacuation was permanent. The state's denial cost countless lives. The truth came too late. In the aftermath of the Chernobyl explosion, the Soviet Union mobilized an unprecedented army of liquidators, a force made up of soldiers, engineers, firefighters, and ordinary citizens, each called upon to confront the unimaginable and contain the disaster before it could spread further. Helicopter pilots risked everything, flying directly over the burning core, dropping tons of sand, boron, and lead in desperate attempts to smother the radioactive fire, all while absorbing lethal doses of radiation with every pass. Beneath the reactor, 3 courageous volunteers waded through radioactive water in pitch-black tunnels to drain a flooded chamber, preventing a second, even more devastating explosion that could have poisoned much of Europe, saving millions of lives. On the reactor's roof, bio-robots, men in makeshift lead suits, braved the most dangerous radiation, clearing deadly debris by hand, often working just seconds at a time before being pulled away to safety. Miners tunneled deep below the reactor to construct a cooling platform, while soldiers bulldozed entire villages to prevent the spread of contamination. Every task meant facing an invisible silent enemy, radiation that could kill without warning. Together, their sacrifice formed a human shield, standing between the reactor's deadly core and the rest of the world, holding back disaster through sheer courage and determination. Many paid the ultimate price, suffering from radiation sickness, cancer, and other illnesses. Some lost their lives within days, while others endured years of pain and uncertainty. Their heroism prevented an even greater catastrophe. The true cost of their bravery is immeasurable, but their legacy endures in every life they saved. The world learned of Chernobyl only when Swedish scientists detected radiation. The Soviet Union's brief admission could not hide the scale of the disaster. Pripyat became a ghost city, school books opened, toys abandoned, the Ferris wheel rusting in silence. Nature reclaimed the zone of alienation, wildlife thriving where humans cannot. The new safe confinement now entombs Reactor 4, but the lesson endures. Chernobyl is a scar, a warning of what happens when secrecy and ambition override safety. The power we wield demands humility and transparency. The legacy of Chernobyl is a reminder: responsibility is not optional.